Hi guys! Today we're going to be making a delicious Danish pastry called a Kanelstang. This is basically like a cinnamon roll but in a longer form. It's much easier to make than cinnamon rolls as well because you slice it up after baking and you still get these beautiful swirls in the slices and that lovely cinnamon sugar butter filling throughout. We also put a bit of cardamom in the dough, which I think is just the perfect balance to the cinnamon filling. It truly is a delicious treat. Follow along to see how we make it. To get started on your dough, add 150 milliliters of warm milk to the bowl of your stand mixer, or you can just use a regular bowl if you're planning to knead by hand. Add 2 teaspoons of instant or active dry yeast, and this is where you can let your yeast bloom if needed. Then we need 1 large egg, then 1 egg yolk, add 50 grams of white sugar, then add half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of ground cardamom. This is optional, but we would definitely recommend it, and half a teaspoon of vanilla. Give that a quick mix. Add most of the flour, that's 375 grams. I reserve a little bit just in case the dough doesn't need it, but it usually does. And then 57 grams of softened butter. Put the bowl in your stand mixer with the dough hook attachment and start it. With this dough, you want to be able to touch the dough without it sticking to your fingers, but it should still be pretty soft and not dry at all. Just shape this dough into a rough ball and leave it to rise in a covered bowl until doubled in size. This should take 45 minutes to an hour or so. While that rises, combine your filling ingredients. So this is 85 grams of softened butter, 112 grams of brown sugar, and 1 tablespoon of cinnamon. Add a pinch of salt if your butter is unsalted, but mine is salted. Then mix this together until it forms a paste like this. Once the dough is doubled in size, you're going to roll it out into a rectangle that should be about 12 inches by 17 inches. I have a mat with handy measurements on it, but you can just have a tape measure or a ruler on hand to help you. Top this with the filling and then roll it up along the long edge. So I like to do this slowly, as you can see, and make sure I get a really tight roll with no gaps because this gives the best swirls in the final product. So from here you need to cut the log in half. So I realized I made a slightly too skinny log, so I just pushed it together a little bit to make it thicker, and then sliced it straight down the middle. Slightly uneven, as it always is, but this makes 2 cinnamon swirl logs, and so I like to put them on separate baking sheets just to give them plenty of room to rise. Now comes the fun but slightly confusing part. So you want to go in with a clean pair of kitchen scissors and make cuts at an angle. So you don't cut all the way through like you would if you were making cinnamon rolls, because you don't want them to separate, but you want the distinct swirls sort of sticking out on alternating sides, if that makes sense. You can always readjust them to make them look a bit nicer before you leave them to rise for another 30 to 45 minutes. This is what I'm doing here, just adjusting them so that they look a little bit better. Cover and let these rise for another 30 to 45 minutes. Then you're going to egg wash them. So I always beat an egg together with a little bit of water to make it easier to brush onto pastry. And then they bake in a 175 degrees Celsius or 350 degree Fahrenheit oven for about 20 minutes. Remove them from the oven and Put them on a wire cooling rack to cool. They turn out really cute, and then you can easily slice them up and freeze them, or just keep them on hand to have throughout the week. They are absolutely delicious. This is the final product, so as you can see, it turns out really pretty when you slice it up, and really it's not that difficult to make. So definitely try making this autumn and winter. We can promise you it's a hit, especially for a brunch or just for a little afternoon pick-me-up if you need it throughout the week. If you do make it, let us know in the comments. Feel free to send us photos on Instagram or TikTok. And yeah, thanks for watching. See you next video. Bye!